Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Yesterday we discussed about franchising business, and today we will discuss joint venture and different forms of public sector organizations, and what is it and what are its advantages and what are disadvantages. Okay, let's start. So what is a joint venture? A joint venture is where two or more businesses start a new project together, sharing capital, risks, and profits. A joint venture means joint venture is a business which is made when two firms they merge with each other. In fact, not merge, but they start a project together, a new project together in which they share their capital, they share the risk, it means they will share the loss, and even they will share the profit. So such a new project which is started by making two firms together is called a joint venture business. Venture is basically the word which means business and joint means together. So the business which is started together is called a joint venture business. And just like we can take the example of any event. Suppose if any event is going to take place like T20 World Cup, suppose in Lahore, and one of the firms, suppose Shizan, is which make juices, uh, is going to conduct that event or going to sponsor that event. And if another firm which is a multinational one, suppose Nestle, if it merges with if it makes a venture with Shizan, and they both cover that event because it is a huge event, so one firm is not sufficient, or one firm cannot uh, have that project. So when these two firms will accept that project together, this would be called their joint venture. So what advantage they will have if they are starting a project together, because both of them cannot accept that project due to different problems like shortage of capital or shortage of finance or workers. So what advantage it will have? The first one is sharing of cost. The cost will be shared because both the firms Shizan and Nestle both will bring capital and they will cover that event. And then local knowledge, because one of the firm is from the foreign country and the other one belongs to that country. So one of them will have definitely the local knowledge, so it will give it would be easier for them to conduct research. There would be no issues with the taste and fashions of the people of that area. There would be no language issues. So uh, they will get local knowledge because they have a venture with a local firm. Then the risk are shared. Suppose if they are unable to get the profit and they have some loss, so that loss will not be for just one firm, but both of these firms will share the loss. So it's an advantage that if we are having a joint venture, so our loss would be shared. Now, what are the disadvantages? So, first of all, the profit is shared. Yes, the whole profit that they will get, both will divide that profit. Then, because they too belongs to different countries, they have different strategies, policies. So there could be disagreements on so many issues and so many decisions. Decisions would be delayed, and conflicts would be there, um, so which may create problems. And then different cultures are there, so again conflict would be there. So this was all about the joint venture business. So what is a joint venture? It is where two or more businesses start a new project together, sharing capital, risk, and profit. So here our topic of private sector organization comes to an end, in which we have discussed sole trader, partnership, joint stock companies, in which we discuss private limited company and public limited company. Then we discuss some other forms of private sector, which was franchising and joint venture. And today we will discuss the last topic of this chapter, number 4, and it is public sector organization. Public sector is basically the sector which is the state or government sector, means the organizations which are owned and controlled by the government. They are called public sector organizations, and we use the word public corporation for them also. So what is a public corporation? A public corporation is a business in the public sector that is owned and controlled by the government. Okay, now let's have a look on the few advantages and disadvantages of public sector corporations. So first of all, the advantages, that if a business is owned by the government, so how it is beneficial for the economy, for the people of that country. So first of all, some industries are considered so important that government ownership is thought to be essential. These include water supply and electricity generation in many countries. Yes, because few things are the basic necessities, and these must be provided by the state so that their price could be low, and they must be in the access of each and every individual of that area. Okay, the next advantage is that if industries are controlled by monopolies, because it would be wasteful to have competitors, two sets of railway lines to a certain town, for example, then these natural monopolies are often owned by the government. It is argued that this will ensure consumers are not taken advantage of by privately owned monopolists. Yes, there are few businesses which, if they are offered to the private people to start their business, so it would not be a wise decision to have two railway lines in a town, because they are going to create congestion or so many problems in that area. So such type of business must be provided by just one organization, and that is why government owned railway. Then the next advantage is, if an important business is failing and likely to collapse, the government can step in to nationalize it. This will keep the business open and secure jobs. Because government is a large organization, if it will have loss from one of its organization, but it will earn profit from some other organization, or it will earn finance, it will generate finance through other means like collection of tax or so many other ways. So that is why, if there is an important organization which is going into loss, so government can nationalize it, it can purchase it, uh, just to provide service to the society. The next advantage is, important public services such as TV and radio broadcasting are often in the public sector. Non profitable but important programs can still be made available to the public. Although these type of organizations are working on no profit uh, system, uh, but because their objective is to provide some important programs relating to their health, relating to other economic issues, that is why they are again controlled by the government, and that is why they are in the public corporation. So these are the advantages of public corporations. But at the same time, there are some disadvantages as well. So what are they? There are no private shareholders to insist on high profits and efficiency. The profit motive might not be as powerful as in private sector industries. Yes, the public sector organizations, usually the people working in that organization, because they are not paid on the basis of their performance or their efficiency, but even if the firm will go into loss, the organization will suffer loss, but even then they will get their pay. That is why they are least concerned with its efficiency. Then government subsidies can lead to inefficiency, as managers will always think that the government will help them if the business make a loss. It may also be unfair if the public corporation receives a subsidy but private firms in the same industry do not. Yes, government always provides subsidies and grants to its own organizations, which are called public corporations or public sector organizations. But the similar organizations which are working very well, they are not given the subsidies, although it is unwise, but it happens. Then another disadvantage is often there is no close competition to the public corporations. There is no close competition to the public corporation. Why there is no competition? Because their scale is so bigger that no private firm can compete at their level. There is therefore a lack of incentive to increase consumer choice, increase efficiency, or even improve customer service. So that is why they have a sort of monopoly. So they don't have any competitor. That is why they least bother to provide better customer services, but their focus is just to earn, to receive their salaries, but they don't think about the efficiency or improvement in the productivity of their organization. And last but not the least disadvantage is government can use these businesses for political reasons. For example, to create more jobs just before an election. Yes, it happens in Pakistan or in other areas of the country, as areas of the world as well. This prevents the public corporations being operated like other profit making businesses. Like different political parties, they try to provide jobs near to the election so that the people, they again elect them. And this is a major disadvantage of public corporations. Okay, here our chapter comes to an end, and inshallah, in our next class, whenever it will be, I will take a test of chapter number 4. And if you have any problem relating to chapter number 4, you can ask from me.